Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm 54 years old, and this last year has been very hard for me and my daughter-in-law. But before I get into that, let me tell you a bit about my son, Ethan. Ethan is my only child. When he was born, my husband and I were struggling to start our business. We wanted a family but decided to have just one child so we could give him all our attention. We worked hard all day to provide for Ethan, and when we came home, we spent all our time with him. It was tiring at first, but seeing Ethan happy made it worth it. As Ethan grew up, he became a smart and handsome young man. Even when he went to college, he still spent a lot of time with us. However, with his good looks, Ethan started becoming a bit of a player. My husband and I were okay with it as long as he stayed safe and made good decisions. Ethan had one serious girlfriend in his junior year of college, but they broke up because I found out he was talking to another girl. They were planning to move in together after graduation, but I convinced him to break up with her since he wasn't in love if he was already interested in others. My husband and I started to worry about the kind of person Ethan was becoming, so we tried to guide him. Things seemed to improve when he met Valerie, my daughter-in-law. They met through mutual friends and hit it off right away. I adored Valerie from the moment Ethan brought her home. She felt like the daughter I never had. Ethan and Valerie dated for about 3 years before getting married. I thought everything was going perfectly, and my worries about Ethan's behavior faded. To make things even better, less than a year after they married, Valerie announced she was pregnant. I was thrilled about becoming a grandmother, especially since my husband and I were now successful and didn't have the stress of running our business. After Valerie's pregnancy announcement, she stopped coming over as often. My husband and I used to host Ethan and Valerie for dinner regularly, but that changed. Concerned, I asked Ethan about Valerie the next time he came over. "Hi, Mom. How are you?" "Hi, sweetie. I'm good. How are you and Valerie doing?" "We're good. Where's Valerie? Why didn't she come with you?" "Well, you know how pregnancy is." "Oh no, does she need help with anything?" "I'm free to help her with anything she needs." "No, it's okay. I've reduced my work hours to help her around the house." "Sure, but more help never hurts." As a woman who's been through pregnancy, I can offer advice and help. "It's really okay, Mom. I've got it under control." "Are you sure?" "Yeah, I'll call you if we ever need anything." "Yes, you absolutely should." Speaking of calling, I should call Valerie more often. "No, Mom, I was trying to be gentle, but Valerie has been asking for some space." "What do you mean?" "She's feeling a little smothered by all the attention and advice she's been getting from her side of the family. She told me to make sure that no one bothers her right now." "Oh, that's odd." "I thought so too, but it's probably just her hormones or something. Anyway, I just want to make this pregnancy as comfortable as possible for her, and if that means telling everyone to give her space, then I'm doing that." "Okay, I got it. I'll keep my distance, but I'll call you for updates if that's okay." "Of course, that's fine. You're doing a great job. By the way, I'm sure Valerie is having a much easier time with you by her side." "I really hope she is. Anyway, let's go out and get dinner now." I thought Ethan's reasoning was odd, but I didn't think much about it. Who was I to interfere in his relationship? I wanted to call Valerie, but I chose to honor her wishes. I remembered how crazy pregnancy made me. I was a monster when I was pregnant with Ethan. I figured I'd wait for Valerie to call me when she wanted, and in the meantime, I'd help Ethan take care of her whenever I could. After that, Ethan rarely called. He always seemed so busy with his new job working for Valerie's dad, one of the most successful businessmen in our state. I was glad Ethan's career was taking off, especially with a baby on the way. I assumed he was also taking good care of Valerie, so I didn't bother him much either. With less on my plate, I struggled to keep myself occupied, so I reconnected with old friends. After planning for a few weeks, we finally agreed to meet at a local cafe. Initially, I was having a great time, but then I saw a familiar head. Even from the back, I knew it was Ethan. Before I could go greet him, I noticed who he was with. He was sitting with another woman, younger than him, with a toddler by her side. They were holding hands and laughing. I left the cafe without him noticing me. Deep down, I knew it was Ethan, but I needed to confirm it. It was him, and he was with another woman. Something felt off. Ethan told me not to call Valerie, but I couldn't ignore my gut feeling. Eventually, I gave in and called her. Hey, Rachel. Hi, darling. How are you doing? It's funny you're asking me that when I should be asking you. How are you? I'm great. Thank God. You're all right. Of course. Why? Ethan said you'd had a stroke. No, I didn't. Are you sure he said that? I would remember it if I had a life-threatening issue. Ethan's been so sad and upset, saying he's been busy taking care of you. Haven't seen Ethan in weeks. I'm completely fine and healthy, I promise. Then where has he been going? Actually, that's why I'm calling. I saw Ethan this morning at a cafe with a woman and a toddler. But he told me he was working today. He's been lying about a lot of things. Do you think he's cheating on you? I don't know. I don't have any evidence. Were they close? Did the child look like him? They were holding hands and laughing, but the child didn't look like him from what I could tell. Why would he lie to me? Sweetie, you need to stay strong. You have a child on the way. We're going to get to the bottom of this. Go through his things. Isn't that an invasion of his privacy? That doesn't matter when your marriage is on the line. He's probably not home much, right? I think he'll be home soon. Whenever he leaves next, go through his things and let me know if you find anything. No matter what, I'll be by your side. I'll help you, and we'll make sure Ethan pays if he's done anything wrong. Thank you so much, Rachel. I really owe you one. No, you deserve better. Take care and keep me updated. I couldn't believe what I had heard. For Ethan to tell Valerie I had a stroke was beyond insane. I saw no reason for him to lie about something so serious, unless he actually was cheating. I didn't want to assume the worst of my son, but I couldn't rule out the possibility. I had hoped that after he married Valerie, his player days were behind him. But after seeing him look so affectionate with another woman while his wife was pregnant at home, I couldn't help but doubt his actions. The more I thought about Ethan cheating on Valerie, the more upset I got. Valerie was pregnant, and this was not the best time for such life-shattering news. But I would feel guilty if I didn't tell her immediately. It was better for her to go through the pain now rather than after the baby was born. I didn't call Valerie after our conversation because I didn't want Ethan to find out we were talking. I waited patiently for her call, even though it was eating me up inside. Finally, she called me 2 days later. She sounded like she had been crying for a long time. Her voice was raw. Hey, Rachel. Are you free? I hope I'm not bothering you. Oh my gosh, are you okay? Of course I'm free, and you could never be a bother. What's going on? I looked through Ethan's phone and found out so much. Oh no, what did you find out? I found him texting multiple women. Oh, sweetie, that's not even the worst part. It turns out the woman he's been visiting for months is pregnant with his child. I feel so disgusted. I can't imagine how you must feel. But you need to channel all these negative feelings into teaching him a lesson. Yeah, but can I ask you something? Of course, sweetie. Do you think I'm ugly? Do you think there was something I could have done to make sure Ethan remained faithful? Sweetie, you can't think that way. You're not ugly at all. The first time I saw you, I thought my son must have done something incredible to be with you. You are not responsible for his actions. You don't have to fight to keep your husband faithful. That was his duty the second he vowed to be by your side forever. You're right. I guess my pregnant brain is making me feel like I did something wrong. And we can't let your pregnancy brain take over now. We're going to get even with Ethan for hurting you this way. Are you sure you want to go against your son? No son of mine would ever lie to and cheat on his wife. This is about teaching him a much-deserved lesson. All right, let's do this. Shall I come over tomorrow when Ethan is out of the house again? Yes. Take care until then. If you want to stay here for the night, that's okay too. No, I'd much rather surprise Ethan. I don't want him to know we're onto his lies. All right, I'll meet you tomorrow. After the call, I didn't know how to feel. I had so many emotions swirling inside me. I wanted to yell at Ethan for his disgusting behavior, but I also wanted to cry with Valerie for the love she lost. One thing was certain. I knew at that moment I no longer had a son. My husband was also very upset by what Ethan had done and called Valerie to apologize. Valerie was surprisingly kind-hearted about it, which only made me angrier at Ethan. How could he throw away a 4-year relationship with the kindest, most caring woman on the planet, especially when she was pregnant with his child? I wanted nothing more than to call Ethan and yell at him for being a jerk, but I knew better. He needed to learn a lesson, and I was determined to make sure he did. After barely getting any sleep, I went to Valerie's place the next morning. Her eyes were red and puffy, and she looked like a mess. I hugged her tightly and asked how she was holding up. How are you holding up? Well, I've managed to stop crying, so that's where I am right now. I'm really sorry for Ethan's behavior. I feel terrible that this is happening to you. It's okay to feel bad about all of this, but you have nothing to apologize for. You're right. I just sometimes wonder if Ethan's dad and I raised him better. That's nonsense. You guys are wonderful people, and I'm sure you raised Ethan to be just like you. Ethan made his own decisions, and that is not a reflection on you two. You're absolutely right, but still, let me help you figure out how to get back at Ethan. I think I already have an idea. Oh, let me hear it. I was thinking of informing my dad about Ethan cheating on me. I'm sure with all the time he's been sleeping around, he's been slacking at work. Dad probably only lets him work there because Ethan is my husband and needs the money since I'm pregnant. That's brilliant. Your dad can fire him and you can file for a divorce. But will your dad just believe you blindly? Of course, but he won't have to blindly believe me because I have all the proof I need of Ethan's cheating. That's my girl. That's so smart of you. And what about the woman Ethan got pregnant? Does she know he's married? From what I could tell, she didn't. Then I think it's time you tell her. Confront her with all the evidence and see what she says. Do you really think that will go well? Even if it doesn't, at least the woman will be informed. And if it does go well, it will be horrific for Ethan. Either way, it's a win. You're right. I'll talk to my dad about this. Oh, and I'll ask him to make it as embarrassing, and I also think that you should go a step further and expose Ethan to everyone in the family. I'll help, of course. We'll make sure that no one will help him out. Do you think that's overkill? No, he is not allowed to cheat on his wife, lie to her and me, and then get away with it. This is a harsh lesson he needs to learn. All right, then thank you so much for helping me out. You have no idea how much this means to me. Of course, you're like the daughter I never had, and I have to help you out in any way that I can. And if you need help with literally anything, feel free to reach out to me. I definitely will. The events that unfolded after that were nothing short of amazing. Valerie talked to her dad about everything that had happened and even gave him proof of Ethan's infidelity. Needless to say, he was beyond enraged. Valerie was his only daughter, and he was fiercely protective of her. So, of course, at her request, he fired Ethan in front of the entire office. He held a staff meeting and laid into Ethan for his incompetence and lack of loyalty. Ethan was red in the face from embarrassment and probably also anger, but he could not say anything against his father-in-law out of respect. The only reason I knew of any of this was because I got in touch with Valerie's dad and apologized to him for the way Ethan treated Valerie. He assured me that I had nothing to apologize for and told me that I had done way more good for Valerie than ever had my husband, Valerie's father, and I sat down after that and decided that if we wanted to take any further action to teach Ethan a lesson, it would be best for Ethan to no longer live anywhere near us. Together, we pooled all our contacts to ensure that nobody would hire Ethan. With all our reputations combined, that was a pretty easy task. Valerie also managed to reach out to Ethan's mistress, who was pregnant. She wasn't aware that Ethan was a married man and was very angry when she found out. She apologized profusely and told Valerie that she'd end her relationship with Ethan immediately, and she did. She also told Valerie that she would be fighting for full custody of their child and urged Valerie to do the same. By this point, several days had passed since Ethan got fired. Valerie lied and told him that she was staying with her parents because she couldn't take care of herself alone, which was kind of true considering how heavily pregnant she was. During the few days she was away, she also filed for a divorce. As soon as she got the divorce papers, she rushed over to my place to ask how to serve them to Ethan. However, Ethan also decided to show up at my house at that time. He saw Valerie's car in the driveway and practically stormed in through the front door in a rage. "What did you do? What on earth are you talking about, you manipulative snake? That is no way to talk to the mother of your child." "Oh, were you in on this too?" "In on what exactly?" "I don't have a job anymore." "Really? Did my dad finally fire you?" "Finally? You wanted him to fire me? Why would he want his cheating son-in-law to work with him? How did you even find out about that? I happened to see you sitting with the woman you recently impregnated at a cafe." After that, all it took was one phone call to Valerie for the truth to unravel. "So you two didn't think it was fair to approach me about it. You've had to go and tell your dad, Valerie. And you had to get me fired for it. And Mom, did you not care that I would lose my livelihood? You are a disgrace to me and your dad. You deserve nothing less than this." Do you even know how humiliating that was at today's staff meeting? "Valerie, your father yelled at me in front of everyone and then told me to get out of the office and out of your lives. Yeah, I have all your things packed. You can take them and go. You know what? I don't regret cheating on you." "Of course you don't. You're a disgusting person, and we didn't expect anything more from you." "No, you don't understand. Valerie was an absolute nightmare to deal with the second she became pregnant. She was always angry and always in pain. She snored so loud that I barely got any sleep, and she never did any of her work around the house. I would come back home from a tiring day of work to a dirty house and no food. Of course, I went to search for satisfaction elsewhere. You made me pregnant. Don't you dare forget that. You begged me to have your children even when I told you I didn't want children for another few years. And of course, I wasn't able to do much. I was in so much pain because of the pregnancy. You can't possibly blame me for that. And it's even more pathetic of you to blame Valerie's pregnancy for your incompetence as a husband. Your satisfaction should never have come first. Your first priority should have been Valerie and her well-being, something that I told you I would help you with. But you lied about doing it yourself." "I had to lie. The two of you meddled too much, and I needed a foolproof plan to make sure I got what I wanted. Well, you just did. So don't blame me for the consequences of your actions. Surely you anticipated getting caught and paying for it, right? What I did not expect was you two teaming up against me. I don't see why I need to have any sympathy for you. Just take your things and get out. This is not over. I'm going to make your lives hell. Sure, Let me see how you do that when you have no job. What do you mean? Valerie's dad, your father, and I'd have made sure to put you on a statewide blacklist for your profession. No company is going to hire you. Good luck. Is this how you treat your own son? How can you betray your son this way? You are not my son anymore. You're nobody to me or your father. We want nothing to do with you. Do us a favor and block and delete our numbers from your phone. Now get out before we call the cops on you. Ethan looked at me like he had been slapped in the face. His eyes welled up with tears as the realization of his mistakes caught up with him. Did I feel an ounce of guilt or sympathy for him? Absolutely not. The only reason I was so enraged by his act was because I knew firsthand how a cheating partner could destroy a family. I went through it with my own parents, and the memories of my mother breaking down every single day because of how hurt she was still haunt me to this day. I felt no remorse or sympathy for Ethan, and frankly, neither did my husband. We had much more pressing matters to attend to anyway. Valerie was due to give birth only a few days after Ethan came over. We'd put Ethan on the back burner, but we made sure to change the hospital where Valerie was going to give birth, just to make sure that Ethan would not intrude. Thankfully, Valerie had a very healthy, normal birth, and I now have a beautiful baby grandson. A few weeks after Valerie gave birth, though, Ethan came back into our lives. He would come over to my house at any time of the day just to scream at me for ruining his life. He would first do that and then beg me for forgiveness. He tried to tell me that his other child with the other woman also needed him to be here. Apparently, his mistress got full custody of the kid, and he got visitation rights. But there was a clause. If he did not follow his visitation schedule and missed 5 visits, then he could kiss his visitation rights goodbye. It would not be possible for him to visit this child of his very often if he did not find a job in this state, and in fact, he wouldn't be able to see either of them. Ethan's mistress was very kind towards Valerie and recommended to Valerie the same lawyer she used against Ethan to get full custody of their child. Of course, Ethan did not make the divorce or any of the child custody agreements easy for Valerie. It took a long few months for the court to decide what to do, and finally, they ruled in Valerie's favor. She was given a majority of the assets, and she was granted full custody of my grandson. Ethan had the same laws applied to him with the custody of my grandchild as well, and when the verdict was announced, I could see how physically stressed Ethan was about it. My husband and I blocked Ethan everywhere, and after we threatened to get the cops involved again, Ethan stopped coming over to our house to yell profanities at me. My husband and I focused on taking care of Valerie and our grandson. They were our number one priority. We helped cover all the costs of the divorce and have been supporting Valerie ever since she gave birth. We felt it was the only way we could make it up to her for Ethan's horrible behavior. We're nearing the 1-year anniversary of finding out that Ethan had been cheating, and I can safely say that we're all in a better place right now. Well, except for Ethan. I heard through some extended family members that Ethan moved across the country and managed to land a job, but he's still doing miserably. I would feel bad, but I simply can't bring myself to. My grandson would have had a really hard time had Ethan's ways been exposed when my grandson was able to understand what was going on. I would never have let that happen, but the thought was enraging. For now, though, I'm in a better place. I do mourn the loss of the son I thought I had, but I'm in therapy to deal with all my bizarre emotions. I have people that genuinely care for me by my side, and that's all that matters. Thank you so much for listening to my story.